Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we are going to be talking about my 08 328i. It has been my daily driver for the last, I think, about 3 years now, and we're going to kind of go over and do a little 3-year review on this car, how my ownership's been and what I hate about it and what I've liked about it so far. Because this car has done a lot of good for me, but it does have its issues like any other BMW out there. So this car in particular, the first thing that I don't like about this car is the exterior plastics. And what I mean by that is going to be the tail lamps. We'll start at the back here. And so these plastics, they all look good, but the glue seals on them do start to separate. And so you will need tail lights at some point in this car's life. Now, this being an 08, it is about 12 to 13 years old. So that will be something, you know, that will have to be on the list when you're looking for one of these cars. Same with the headlights here. You get that yellow hazing. They did use the plastic lenses on these cars. You don't get the glass anymore. So you will need either repolish and re-clear on these headlights or replace them with something else. And the second thing I can say I hate about this car, I do like it, but it's such a pain to take care of, is the paint. And the jet black that these BMWs come painted in is a tough color. And I'm not just saying that. I do have friends that do detail, and there's just something about the black where it shows off every imperfection. Now, I didn't really take care of this paint at all, and I'm sure you can see in the sun all the swirls. I mean, I bought this car as a daily driver just from point A to point B. So just throw some water and soap on it and brush it off, and that was pretty much it for me. I didn't expect this car to become a project, and now that it is, I'm looking for other options, whether I am going to try and restore this paint or maybe even do a wrap. But as you can see, there's sap marks, there's debris within the paint, and there's even staining. So this is definitely going to need a lot of TLC. And number 3 are the wheels. Now, the 162s that I have here are different from what came factory on the 328i E90. They had the 16-inch wheels, and when I did go from those 16s to these 18s, a little bit wider in the rear and in the front, I wasn't expecting much of a difference in handling, but it did make for a more comfortable ride, as well as gave it a better look. So I can definitely say that this OEM Plus upgrade was a great benefit, especially for when I was daily driving this car. And if we go to the interior, I did replace the walnut trim with the brushed aluminum. I think it's a great accent for the black on black. But my biggest gripe with the interior, especially driving this car so much, are the stock non-sport seats. Especially after that like 2.5 hour mark, these seats do become uncomfortable on the lower half and like lower arch support. So I would suggest that if you are looking to get yourself into an E90, get the sport seat, you know, something with the sport package. It definitely is worth the extra buck. Now, the 5th thing is gonna be this like rubberized coating that BMW used on the interior of their E9X vehicles. As you can see, it's starting to chip and peel off on the edge of these cup holders, as well as one of the more common issues is the inside of the passenger handle here. Now, you kind of find that on the door pulls and on the inside of the catch here. So there's miscellaneous little things where people might be nitpicky about. Number 6 being the cup holders themselves, and I'm sure every E90 owner knows this, but as you can see, this cup holder still works fine, but the one over here comes out extremely slow, and I'm worried that these are eventually going to break, which they do, and they don't want to come back out. An easy way to tell if they've been replaced is if they have, or the little accent here on the front of the cup holder. That means that these cup holders have been replaced at least once, or if you have the LCI model, those are the updated cup holders. Now I have seen those break. It does give you peace of mind if you have a pre-LCI E90 and you do see those cup holders in your car when you do go to buy it. And the final thing on this car, we are talking about oil leaks. These cars leak oil like no other car that I've owned, but once they are said and done, sealed tight, it's great. So the oil filter housing itself and the valve cover, when I first bought this car, were leaking like no other, and it actually covered up other issues that I had under the hood and I didn't quite realize yet. So once I got those two things sorted out, it was like I would clean off the engine, I would drive it for a bit, and then there would be more oil, or the engine would heat up and it would make oil run from other areas that I couldn't get to while I was cleaning. So it was a matter of repeating this process of clean, rinse, drive the vehicle, and re-inspect. And so what I found was that the front main was leaking and the oil pan was leaking. But once I got those done, the car has been pretty much solid ever since. And one of the benefits of actually owning the 328i and being here in California is that the car is a SULEV vehicle, which you can see right here in the corner. There is a secondary air pump. And what a SULEV is a super ultra low emissions vehicle. And they're among California, as well as a handful of other states, they have adopted this and they gave these cars an extended warranty. Now that varies from state to state, but things like the valve cover, the radiator, which has a special coating on it, which converts greenhouse emissions that are harmful to the ozone into oxygen. So it's almost like a big giant filter. At that point, the crankshaft position sensor, among a page and a half of other things, is covered on this car for 15 years, 150,000 with a clean title, as far as my knowledge goes, which has been great coverage because a lot of these big repairs that I have needed, having had my radiator leak, having had the plastic valve cover on this car actually be cracked and leaking, which was the issue there, was replaced all under warranty, as well as actually the crankshaft position sensor, which was one of the things that gave me the most trouble because I couldn't get my car started. But other than that, all replaced under warranty, didn't have to pay a penny out of my pocket. All right guys, so I did want to give my final review on the 08 328i that I have. And you know, for 3 years of ownership and about 50,000 miles that I've driven in 3 years, I think that this car has held up exceptionally well, and I think it's due to having been so diligent with servicing the vehicle itself, taking care of the leaks, doing my oil changes, brake fluid, coolant flushes, all that good stuff, because I actually am still on the original water pump, if you can believe that, at 144,000 miles, which I know it's coming soon, but I'm praying that it's going to hold out for a little while longer, because I really don't want to do a coolant pump. But I think with the SULEV services and everything that I have had to deal with, I think this car for me gets an 8 out of 10. While it doesn't look the best in the aesthetics, it probably would have held up better if it had been better taken care of. You know, that stuff is minimal in comparison to the mechanical. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and kind of my 3-year ownership review and my hates, likes on this car, and it gives some of you a better idea of what E90 ownership is going to be like. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.